Okay, so we're going to get the paper ready to do the charcoal reverse drawing. I have a drawing board. I have several sheets of paper. You don't want to just have one sheet of paper. And I am going to tape this to the board, and then I'm going to add the tone to the paper. So this is just holding it in position. And then we're going to tape the margins so that it gives you a nice clean edge. So this is 3/4 inch artist tape. I'm going to put it on my shirt so I can make it not quite so sticky. I'm going to cover both the board and the paper. Eyeballing it, trying to make sure that I get it close to, even. If you don't remember to make it not quite so sticky, it's not the end of the world. Just be careful when you're taking it off. Drafting tape will work for this as well, but this is artist tape. I want it to be flat. This is a charcoal powder, and we are going to just add a little bit of this to the paper. Doesn't take a lot. So this is not even a real teaspoon. That's probably more than enough. We're going to spread this around with the paper towel. I'm going to get it all the way to the edge. Nice even mid-tone. That should do it. That's a nice even mid-tone for our drawing. Okay, so we're going to lay out our composition. We're using the Vine charcoal. We have our toned paper. Okay, remember I said that you could also tone the paper with the Vine charcoal. The Vine charcoal is going to be something that's removable. So we're going to actually figure out, we can figure out our plumb line for the object. And I'm not going real dark on this. At this stage, we can draw through things. It's no problem. Make adjustments. You're going to be making adjustments as you go, so don't get too committed with your outlines. Remember, with the graphite drawing, we had to have everything set, right? But with this, we don't. This is a very odd shaped object. And I'm seeing where the bottom of this is going to lay up. So my pet peeve on this drawing is when people are drawing incorrect boxes. It drives me nuts. Okay, so the whole point of this, the charcoal reverse, is that we are going to be drawing with our eraser. So where we have lights, we are going to pull those lights out with using our kneadable eraser. And I'm constantly cleaning it so that it can, if I don't clean it, it's just going to rub material into the paper. So now we're just smoothing that out a little bit. And you can see that now when we do that, it makes it blurry, okay? So one of the main things about this drawing that students have a hard time with is they get really enamored with the idea of blending things and softening transitions, and then they forget about the fact that ultimately the edges are going to have to be sharp, right? So you don't want to have these blurry edges. Now I'm going to start using the charcoal pencil, and the charcoal pencil, you can see the way it's sharpened. I actually went and got a special pencil sharpener that'll do this, okay? But we want to make sure that if you don't have a special pencil sharpener, what you're going to need to do is use an X-Acto knife and a sandpaper block to sharpen it, okay? That's the way it's going to happen, because you need to be able to use the side of the material and not just the top or the point. So you can also use a blending stomp, what I'm doing right now. If you take the paper towel and you just do that, it works just like a blending stomp.
portion.
Now right now it looks like I'm putting outlines around things, and it's because I am. But we're going to be shading away from those outlines in a minute so that we don't end up with those dark outlines. Here I have an edge that's defined by a light. Getting back into that. There, an edge too. Here we want to make that a little bit brighter. The thing about the charcoal reverse that we have to remember is that this, as we keep rubbing this paper, it's going to be harder and harder to take stuff off. So we don't want to do it like a lot. Like shifting. This method of working is a lot more painterly than what we've done probably up till now. In that you're going from the general to the specific. So there's a bit of a reflected light along that edge. And here we've got more of a direct light. And on this part, I'm just going to use single direction hatching. So in that reflected light, we don't want it that bright, so we're going to dirty it up a little bit. We also don't need our plumb line anymore. Okay, now I mentioned that we want to make sure that we are getting rid of these outlines, so that means shading away from the object. So something like this. Using the side of the charcoal.
Same with the edge.
So now the contrast is starting to pop that out, which something that might not have been all that visible before suddenly is. And this is blendable too. So if I want something really, really specific, I have to be really careful. I don't want to rest my hand in the paper.
Can you say it again?
If I want to be careful and I want to rest my hand in the paper, I have to make sure that I'm not resting my hand in the drawing. So I'll get this piece of, typing paper. You can see by using the point now, the point's a lot darker. We can start to really focus in on this. So this is a 6B charcoal pencil. The 6B is going to get dull really fast. So the idea is if you want to, as you're shading, as you're seeing me do this hatching, I'm constantly rotating the pencil so that it doesn't keep hitting the same spot over and over again. So even that took a little bit off of the tone that we put down. So imagine if you had something that you drew here. Just kind of why I'm working top down. You don't have to be that planned out about it, but you know. Now, I'll come back to this, but I do want to show you some really cool things that you can do as far as getting a nice sharp edge, like from this cube here. If you want to get a nice clean edge there, then you can use your kneadable eraser and your piece of paper. You lay the piece of paper down. You can get a nice sharp edge that way. And the opposite is true as well, so that you can do this, cover up the light part and put down a tone. you get a sharp edge that way as well. So one of the things that's hard for people to determine is, you know, the difference in tone between, say, the surface plane and the object, and which is going to be the brightest light. And the tones that I have on this cube, this is the lightest light, and then the top is not quite as light. Okay, so I'm going to mask that off again. So the placement on the cast shadows is going to be really, really important. So a lot of times you're going to see people putting cast shadows coming off from spots that don't make any sense. If you look at the cast shadow for this object, it isn't coming from this corner. It's actually coming from the corner back here. It's interrupting light this way. So it's coming something like that. Right now I'm blurring my vision as I'm looking at the surface plane right in here. It's fairly close in value to that. No outline there. But along the edges here we might have a little bit darker. And then in the back, it's quite a bit darker. Even though it's all one white piece of paper, as we're lower down here, the surface plane is pretty light. If I haven't done anything to this, pop that out a little bit. back of our surface plane is about here. We have a cast shadow coming there. So here the surface plane is darker than the actual object. So the object itself is lighter, it's catching the direct light. The surface plane is slightly darker. Okay, so you are going to get to see this go in fast motion, and you're going to get to see me get at least one of these objects fairly rendered, so that you can get a sense of what it's supposed to look like when you're finished. Okay.